Hey there, everyone. It's Biz Tip Tuesday. Another opportunity for you to take your ideas and grow your business using content marketing tips and strategies. Hey everyone, it's Dr. Yam, your Keep It Simple coach inside of Content Creation Tips and More community. Welcome for another coaching live session. For those of you who are new to our group to date, I should say, I want to say a special shout out to each and every one of you. If you haven't already done so, make sure that you set your notifications to make sure that you don't miss any of these opportunities where you can catch me live. So again, for those of you who have not already done so, you want to head on over to our community, which is Content Creation Tips and More. It's where solopreneurs, freelancers, and coaches are able to engage and learn and grow their business. So you can just type in smallbizsociety.com and you can connect with us there as well. So welcome everyone. And if you don't already know who I am Dr. Yam, your Keep It Simple coach, the host and facilitator inside of Content Creation Tips and More community for solopreneurs, freelancers, and coaches who are launching their business and want to use content marketing strategies to do so. Now, if you happen to be catching this inside of my YouTube channel or live on my Facebook page and you have not already launched your business, no need to fret. I want you to head on over to our Busy 9to5ers Hive.com, and there is for those who want to transition from employee to entrepreneur and need a little help and a little push from someone like myself who's been there, done that, and can write a book. I will be writing a book, just won't be writing it anytime soon. But please head on over there if you want to make your transition from entrepreneur to employee. Now, for those of you, if you haven't already done so as well, as some people have noted, yes, please come on back for the replay if you're not able to stay live. Love you anyway. Thank you for that. All right, so let's get started. We are in part 2, step 2 of our process. When we think about content marketing strategies, I want us to be mindful of what that really means. And so what we're talking about here in our content marketing ecosystem inside of the Keep It Simple Coach land, we have 6 components. And when we're thinking about lead magnets, which is what our topic is continuing on today, it's on a visual creative, which is also another element. And then there are other components that are related to it. But we're talking more about the creating and the planning and the monetizing of a lead magnet and what that can do for you. So we're focusing in on that particular element inside of content creation system. So visual creations is our component. So when we think about that, I want to talk you through a couple of key components when we're thinking about the creating of your lead magnet. As a quick review, part of what we discussed in our first segment, and if you didn't get a chance to watch the first one, there is a recording inside of our group. Just go up to media and you will find it under, and it's noted as Business Tuesday, and lead magnet is step 1 in the process. So we're now at step 2. So when we're thinking about creating your lead magnets and being and working through that process, a quick review is that step 1 was all about planning. And so I don't want us to forget that now that you know what you want to create, which is how the planning process is centered around, it's time now to get to business, as I like to say. And in that particular case, we're looking at doing a quick review on the planning process, making sure that you create an outline, that you write and record or otherwise develop that lead magnet. And then, of course, what you want to be able to do is make sure this edit is perfect to the best of your abilities to make it attractive for your audience. And then remember that you can also outsource some of these tasks if you don't want to do it yourself. Never feel compelled to do something that you don't feel comfortable doing. That's what outsourcing is for, using a virtual assistant and the like. If you ever need any help with respect to any of those aspects, always know that you can reach out to me using direct message. So a lead magnet, for the most part, again, has some very key factors and features that you're going to make sure you need to know before you even start creating it. And the very main thing is that it needs to have something easy for your audience to use and to digest. But it also needs to have a compelling enough that they'll even want it from you, let alone download it from you, and let alone want to be able to be willing to share their information with you. So that's the whole point around lead magnets. So we want to focus on that. So from a creation standpoint, where do we begin? So we're going to start again. We're at step 2 in this process of the 3-step process for generating and using lead magnets for your content marketing strategies. So I'm going to take a just quick look at my notes here. So I want to make sure I don't miss out on anything and leave you guys without the detailed information that you need. So when we think about the first thing that you want to be able to do when you are creating is to create an outline. Now, I think in terms of mind maps, the same structure can apply. The whole point is you need structure when it comes to that. You need to outline is what's going to really help you understand what parts you need to create so that you go from beginning to end. You want to have a sequencing. If you don't create an outline, you're going to put yourself in danger of kind of getting off track and not getting to the point. Remember, a lead magnet should be easily consumable by your intended audience. It's just a little snapshot, a little snack, if you would, to something bigger that you have to offer. But it's something that can maybe be a quick win for them, which is then turns out to be a really quick win for you because they opted into your particular lead magnet offer. So an outline should also help you understand not only what parts that you need to create so that you can have that beginning and end, but you also don't want to, like I said, get into part of the danger. So you don't have to outline things that you're, the way that you teach. For those of you who are in that kind of coaching and teaching mode, like you were like in high school when you were writing for English, you simply want to write down like what's the beginning, what's the middle, and what's the end. And then you're going to add in what the things that you want to kind of create in the middle in each part. And so that you're going to be able to create a solution for developing that particular lead magnet. So here's a couple of key components that you want to think of. So when we think about creating your outline, couple of components that are a part of that outline in your thought process that you want to keep in mind are the following. So choose a topic. You must have a topic to get started with your outline. You want to keep it simple. Come up with a single, sentence or phrase that's you're going to be able to describe that lead magnet so that you're going to then create, that you're then going to sell. So what is that chosen topic? What problem would you possibly be solving? You then want to know what's the goal, what's the intent around the product itself that you're creating. Even if the product is free, you still want to go ahead and make it as something as useful as possible. Because if you're not adding value to the people who you're intending to give this out for free, they're not going to they won't be interested in anything else that you're going to have down below. So you need to have it jam-packed and full of valuable information, something that's useful, something, again, what's the quick win? So I want you to always kind of keep that in the back of your head. Your lead magnet should be a quick win for them that they can say, wow, that was easy. Hit that easy button. It's like, I used to have an easy button on my desk. I don't know what happened to it. Got to find my easy button. So think of it in those terms. So know your goal. The third thing in your outlining thinking structure is think about gathering your supporting materials. So you want to do your research. It might mean finding some other supporting documents that you may need to have or create that's going to be done for you again, or reach out to experts to get that information. But again, gather the supporting information that's going to help you in reaching that particular goal for your outcome. And then when you're outlining, think about everything in really short phrases and sentences. Remember, a lead magnet doesn't have to be, I know there's been some options out there prior times than today, where you can get some, 25-page ebook or 100-page something, right? Report. Think about the fact that what's really useful to the individual that you're trying to create this relationship with. It's kind of like if you're in an office setting and somebody steps into your office like, hey, I got this quick problem. Can you help me and just do a really quick solution and problem solve? And you want to have that to do. So think of it along those lines, but something short and quick, right? So again, when you're outlining, consider short phrases, consider short sentences, things that you can be very descriptive on later if you need to. Again, this is an outline. And then choose your main topics and your subtopics. So at first, don't have to have anything in any order. Kind of almost do like your brain dump. What are some key things you would want to cover in that quick win topic matter that you're going to be able to solve for that person? And then you can reorganize them and put subtopics, a little later once you've done that. But again, do a brain dump. Another thing is that once you've done your kind of topics, then you can key points about each one of those topics and subtopics under each one. So just expand on them a little bit more. And the thing too is you might be writing them out, but you may turn around and use something that's a visual representation of that subject matter. So everything doesn't always have to be in a textual state, but you certainly want to make sure that you're outlining what do you want this lead magnet to be composed of. That's what's most important. Another thing to keep in mind with inside of that is if you can delve down even deeper. You want to be able to, again, give as much information and useful information to that each one of those subject matters or subtopics themselves. And then, of course, have a conclusion, wrap it up, put a bow on it, that they understand what they, just like in English, summarize what they did, bear out a conclusion and the benefits of what they just accomplished, and then, acknowledge the good works that they've done, right? So don't forget to put a conclusion to the writing and the aspects of your lead magnet in some way. So people know that there's again, beginning, a middle, and an end. And then interestingly enough, this is something I learned, after you've done all that, then you create your introduction. I know, right? You don't do it first. Because now that you know what you know, then you're able to introduce yourself and your background and why you're helping people, and then introduce the content that you're about to share with them now that you know what you know. So your outline is only a guide that's going to help you to make your lead magnet stay in order, okay? You don't have to give numbers or anything. Again, you're still in a somewhat planning phase, but it's going to help you to build out the structures for your content creation itself. So I hope that part was helpful. Do an outline and map it out. Then once you've done that, then it's time for you to go to either writing and the development of that particular content. So I think I missed this part. Yeah, this is a development part. Sorry about that, guys. Once you've done that part, then you want to go into the next phase of this process in creating. And this is where you want to write, you want to develop, or even record it. Remember, you have options. So depending on what those lead magnets are, and I gave you a plethora of options for what types of lead magnets you can create. So you're either going to write it, you're going to develop it, or you may even record it. Audio, video, it's up to you. But now that you have the outline, you kind of almost have your script in order to pull those things together to make it all come together in one stream of consciousness and thought. And so now once you're doing that kind of reading, so once you have that good outline and you know all the parts that you're going to do and all the parts that other people are going to do, depending again and what you're outsourcing and how, because again, do not be afraid to outsource pieces and parts. For instance, I could do a lot of things and I could do them really well. But then I choose to do it, or do I want to choose to do something else with my time and hand it off to someone else who could do it while I'm doing something else that might be more of a money-making task than doing something that's more content creation, that if I gave somebody the outline, now they can pull it all together. So always remember that you have that as an option and get into that habit of delegating. Good leadership, good entrepreneurship is about delegating and know what your limitations are, or bringing the thinking of other people together with yours. So when you're thinking also about your writing and your development or the recording of it, so if you wanted to include a video that you might have already recorded, you might want to, send it out to get transcribed so that you can have a transcript, right? You're not going to sit there and try to do that. Give it off to somebody else to do. But that transcript could also help you take that content and you can repurpose it in a couple different ways and get a couple of different lead magnets out of it, just so you know. So once you've kind of developed that content, now that you have your outline, then you want to just basically treat your lead magnet the same way you would treat any other product and get it edited. And so there again, something you may not want to do yourself. Usually I don't like having just my eyes looking at content that I've created. I really need a second pair of eyes because number one, I'm a little dyslexic, maybe more than a little. And I also have a tendency, if I work on stuff too much, I can easily get distracted and go sideways on a topic. So having someone who just edits your work is always a good thing. Yes, I know this Grammarly, that's good for grammar. That's usually not always good for content and making sure that it makes sense when it's read throughout. So it's always good, like I said, have an editor as a VA that's really good at English. So you can have that as an option as well. So you edit it, make the proper formatting changes as well. A couple of things to think about when you are in this creation mode is you want to make sure you have some key components, a cover, your sales page, download page, all those other pieces are also part of this part. So there's creating the physical lead magnet or the digital lead magnet, I should say, right? That you're going to want to have in the inside, the kind of like the sandwich, right? You got the beginning, the middle, and the ends. You got the front, the insides, and the outsides. So in this particular case, you also want to think about the outline that you have is pretty much all the meat and potatoes on the inside of your lead magnet. You also want to think about maybe a cover for your lead magnet. So you're going to need to cover graphics. And when you're thinking about that, again, is it something you want to create? Again, or you're going to outsource it? But you want to get somebody like maybe from Fiverr or Outlook or Upworks, or someone in your local in your community who is good with things like that. And then you can also do it yourself. There's plenty of software out there like Vista Create and Crello or Canva or Stencil, or what's the one that starts with an E? I can't think of it right now. Easel. Lots of tools out there with lots of templates that you could easily make the edits and stuff yourself. But again, staying on your brand is also important. So you want to make sure of that. But your cover graphics is something that not only needs to look good, but it needs to match and get the attention across. And also because that same image that you're going to be using for your graphic cover is pretty much going to be the same image you're going to use when you're promoting it in an ad or on your landing page. So then there's the landing page. So if you're not familiar with landing pages, that's a totally different conversation. But all I'm going to say is basically it's your sales page. It's the page where the people are going to say, yeah, I want that. It's going to be the information all about that lead magnet because of everything you've outlined in the contents thereof. And you can do this in a couple of different ways when you're creating landing pages. You can create landing pages with the information for your lead magnet so that people can do it from your website. So if you have a WordPress site, or you may be using an email marketing tool like MailerLite, and I have some links for that as well. And you can create landing pages or sales pages inside of those tools. And the benefit of using a landing page, your email automation system tools that offer that is that it then can tie very nicely to emailing sequencing, which is another component that you're going to need to do. But you need to have a place where you're going to be able to offer and also be able to get and access that particular lead magnet by downloading by a download page or a thank you page. And you'll develop all of that kind of comes inside. And then there's the opt-in form itself. So once people land, then you can say, I want that, click it. Then the form needs to pop up. Again, all a component inside of your email automation systems or off of your website. And you may have tools and plugins that you can subscribe to that's going to give people the opportunity for you to collect the information. Let me just keep it real simple. When it's a lead magnet, at least for freebies, and here's the thing I always tell people. You use your opt-in form should be at the same level as the level of commitment in what your offer is. What I mean by that is if it's free, then you have to think about it in the terms of what am I getting for the give? So if I'm giving something for free, people don't know you yet, more than likely. So then you want to think about it in the terms of, okay, if they don't like me and it's for free, I'm really just trying to build my list and subscribers. So I'm willing just to take an email address and if at most that and a first name, just because when you do, your follow-up emails, you want to be able to personalize it a bit. The further up the scale when it comes to commitment and money, then the more money you're paying out, the more information you can ask for. Because people say, well, hell, if I'm going to spend this kind of money, yeah, I want you to stay in contact with me and I want to be able to have that level of engagement. So always think of it in that stuff. But a free offer, typically, you don't want to ask for too much information because people aren't going to be willing to give it to you because they don't know you enough yet to do that. So keep it really simple. Email, and then a first name for right now. And if it's going to be a paid lead magnet, which there certainly are opportunities to do that as well, then you may want to say, give me your phone number so that you can stay in touch by way of SMS. You have that as an option as too, but you'll be able to fill out and create that form. And so again, you don't need to have the product done to do this too, by the way. So you simply just need to know what's going to be on your landing page. And again, there's great templates out there. You don't have to do this all by yourself and start from scratch. And there's lots of resources that are out there to make that happen. So again, those are your three things. Think about your graphic on your cover, think about your landing page, and then think about your opt-in form. Those are all part of the creation. So it's not just creating the product of the lead magnet itself, but all the other ancillary components that are going to go alongside with it. You got to keep all of that in mind in the creation in step 2. And then again, finalizing it. So once you have done the outline and you have kind of finalized the final format that your audience is actually going to download, in most cases, it should be a PDF, or it's going to be an audio file, or it's going to be a movie, or it's going to be a link to a piece of maybe a source, or maybe a course, maybe a portion of a course, something along those lines. Whatever that is, that they're going to either download it, they're going to view it, or they're going to use it. It could be templates, right? I love templates particularly because that's something that people can apply and use right away, right? And put it into action. So any of those types of formats that you're going to be able to do and use, you want to have that software to do. You can save most things anyway now using a Google Doc and then save it as a PDF with no problem. I do have one thing to say when it comes to PDFs, and if you're going to be providing documents where there's an opportunity to fill in forms or fill in action steps and not just have a flat document, is that make it a fillable form. And what I mean by that is, when you click on a form and you have the fields in blue for you to fill out, to me, a PDF isn't valuable unless it's just for reading purposes. But once you start making it like a workbook or a form or anything along those lines, you need to make it so that it's what I consider to be editable, meaning I can go in and fill out the form. So when you're creating documents like that, the free version of Adobe does not provide that. So this is, again, why you might need to get a VA, or sometimes you can go up to some of these free resources. Go to tinywow.com is one of them. Tinywow.com is one of them that you might be able to get converting your PDFs to forms so you could be fillable. But that's like my little kind of pet peeve when it comes to PDF documents is if there's anything that has to be checkboxed or filling out a form or filling out memos and writing in notes, Make it an editable PDF that I can use the PDF, because otherwise, to me, just looking at it isn't useful enough. It's okay, it's just not useful enough. So again, when you're finalizing your piece of information in your products, those are some of the things I always try to tell my clients. And when we're working with them, those are just things you always want to put the little polished information on and just take it up another notch, because most people don't do that. So this is a way that you can separate yourself from the crowd, add value, be useful. So then when you're finished looking at that product that you just created, you want to make sure that, again, it's a quick win. It's something that someone else will find useful. So when you finalize it, make sure that it works, that you have it set up for easy access for your audience to download. Give it some, test it several times, just signing up, and you go work through the workflow itself and doing it. And then you should be in really good shape. And then you won't need to do it again. Because again, the great thing about lead magnets, as far as creating them, the product itself, the opt-in form, and the landing page and all that kind of goes along with it, it's there, and then you're ready to put it in automation mode. So the only thing that I didn't mention to you, that when it comes to creating that workflow, is going to be on your email automation. So I've talked about this in a prior segment, so I'm not going to get much more into it, but just know that when somebody opts into your offer, you want to welcome them. So I do have, as my lead magnet, the email template for welcome email sequencing is my lead magnet that I offer people when they are in a similar position of just kind of getting started. Rather than start from scratch, I would love to offer that one to anyone who's listening today. So if you want to, I'm going to give you the link to that one. Hold on one second. I think it's on my other banners. Let me see. I think I have it on this one. Give me 1 second to pop it up here. It's my welcome email sequencing. Yeah, here it is right here. Let me type that in for you. And I will get that so you can see what my lead magnet looks like from my welcome sequence. There we go. I knew I had it. So I'm going to pop it here in the comments. And this is a lead magnet that I use. And that way you can make sure. It would be good if I knew how to type. I can type. I just don't type that well, especially when I'm online with you guys. Okay, so I'm going to pop that in there. So here's my lead magnet for the welcome email sequencing template. So please make sure that you take advantage of that. And that also kind of gives you a sense for what that all looks like. You have an opportunity to see a finished product, see the landing page, see the opt-in for that, right? And so now you kind of see it from both sides. The planning, a product, on the creating side. So what's up next in step number 3 is going to be monetizing. So in our next live session, part 3 will be on how will you monetize now that you have planned and you have created your lead magnet, and we can take it to the next level. So until next time, this is Dr. Yam, your Keep It Simple coach. Don't forget, you can always find me over here at keepitsimplecoach.info is my website. Blogs, emails, resources, all there for your pleasure. And again, always know that you can meet us here each week inside of Content Creation Tips and More Facebook group, as well as on my Facebook page, or maybe, hey, you'll find me over on YouTube. So until next time, let's get busy. Take care. Bye-bye.